the Sony WH-1000XM4s are still some of the best noise cancelling headphones that you can buy today. However, enter the Edifier WH-950NBs. These are a pair of wireless ANC headphones that has a lot in common with the XM4s, but only costs around half the price. So do you get half the quality? Absolutely not. In some areas, these are even better than the Sonys. Welcome to my tech gear. Let's get into it. Now, comparing the cases of both side by side, and it's not hard to see where Edifier got its inspiration. They are both premium hard cases wrapped in a hard-wearing fabric that will provide plenty of protection for your headphones. Both headphones give you a USB-C charging cable, a 3.5mm audio cable so you can listen over a wired connection if you wanted to, and they also both come with an in-flight adapter so that you can use these on a plane. A big win in Edifier's books though is the USB-C charging cable, because Sony gives you this, which is the smallest, shortest USB-C charging cable I have ever seen. I don't know why Sony did it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Whereas Edifier actually give you a decent length USB-C charging cable, so it's a thumbs up to Edifier for that. So at a price point where plenty of headphones don't even have a case, I'm really impressed with the package that Edifier have here, because it's pretty much like for like comparison compared to the Sonys. There are a lot of design similarities between the XM4 and the 950 headphones. They both fold up, and this is great for a pair of travel headphones. It's a real shame that Sony stopped the design of this with the release of the XM5s, and I do hope that it's the design that they actually go back to, as it keeps the headphones and consequently the case nice and small and easy to put into a bag when traveling. They both have a matte black finish to them which keeps fingerprint smudges down to a minimum, and they look great. The logos are both understated and gold embossed, much like the microphone ports on both of these too. So Edifier are definitely getting a lot of inspiration from the Sonys. There are differences though. Control wise, the Sony XM4s have most controls operated through swipe and tap gestures on their ear pads, whereas the Edifier 950s opt for a more traditional multi-press button configuration. The headband on both is metal, with the Edifier 950s choosing to expose the metal whilst the Sonys integrate it into a leather bound top section. I'll get to the padding differences of these in a little bit. Both feel well made and can be flexed to a great degree with very little creaking, which is often a sign of cheaper built headphones. So for build quality, neither of these disappoint. And comfort wise, the ear pads on both of these have pan and tilt, allowing you to get the perfect fit for pretty much any head shape. And both offer foam padding on each ear cup, covered in a nice soft faux leather. Now, I don't have particularly big ears, but I do find that my ears always touch the inside of the headphones on the Sony XM4s because there is so little padding on them. They don't hurt or anything like that, it's just a little bit annoying. The Edifier 950s, on the other hand, well, they have more padding on each ear pad, which makes them more comfortable to wear for long periods of time. The size of the ear pads on the Edifiers are also wider than on the Sonys. So that, combined with the thicker padding, makes the Edifiers more suitable to a wider range of ear sizes. The padding on the top of the headbands is better on the Sonys though. It's a denser foam than on the Edifiers and offers more support. The faux leather also feels thicker and more durable too. However, when wearing these, I found that both are comfortable to wear. You do get more clamping force with the Edifiers than the Sonys, but neither were uncomfortable, and I could happily wear both of these with glasses as well. Both were really good at keeping my ears cool during use too, even over long listening sessions, which is great as it's often a common problem with over-ear headphones. Both of these are also quite light too, with the Edifiers weighing in at 296 grams and the Sonys coming in slightly lighter at 254. So for comfort, it's great to see the Edifier WH-950NBs do so well. Now, both headphones have 40mm speakers in them and support both LDAC and SBC codecs. However, the XM4s also add support for AAC, and so should be a better fit for these if you have an iPhone. However, despite the lack of AAC support, I paired the Edifier 950s up with an iPhone and they still sounded good after a bit of EQ tweaking. There are 3 EQ settings for the 950s in the Edifier mobile app: Classic, Dynamic and Custom, where you can use a full band graphic equalizer to set things up yourself. Out of the box, these are set to Classic, which definitely biases the bass, and you can switch it to Dynamic, which emphasizes the bass even more and pushes the bass into the stratosphere. It is really thumping. So if you're a bass head, I think you're really going to love these because the bass is actually pretty good. There's just so much of it. If I compare these to the Sony XM4s, well, these have 12 different preset EQ settings in the Sony mobile app and a 5-band graphic equalizer, allowing you to set your own custom EQ as well. However, out of the box, the XM4s are good. They're nice, they're balanced, the tones are rich and clear. They're just a pleasure to listen to. The Edifiers can get close though, with a bit of EQ tweaking. So I jumped into the custom EQ setting in the Edifier app, I dropped the bass, I raised the treble a bit, and I got a better, more balanced sound for it. Vocals came through full and they came natural and there were clear trebles and it was a full but not overwhelming bass. Now comparing these to the XM4s, and the sound was a lot closer. The XM4 still has more detail and separation that feels more balanced and natural though, and I think this is where the price difference starts to show. However, to be fair, I'm being really picky because honestly, if you just picked up the Edifier 950s up and you just started listening to them, you really would be hard pressed to tell the difference. You can get even better sound with both of these if they are paired up with a device that supports the high-res LDAC audio codec. However, this is still a fairly niche thing, as even the most popular streaming services like Spotify don't support it, and if you're using an iPhone, well, that doesn't support it either. So LDAC definitely gives you better support and better sound, but it's just not relevant for most people. So what about noise cancelling performance? Well, both do a good job of cancelling out the low frequencies from the likes of planes and trains. The Sonys are definitely better though. They almost entirely eliminated out the whir of a background coffee machine, while the 950s struggled a bit with it. Still, the 950s are pretty good, it's just that they're not quite as good as the Sonys. And to be fair, considering that Sony has always been regarded as having some of the best noise cancelling technology out there, it really is no surprise. What is surprising is how close the Edifier 950s get to the Sonys, considering the price difference. Both headphones also have a transparency mode which allows you to select how much noise from the outside you want to let into these headphones. Now this is useful if you're taking a call or you need to hear your surroundings, for instance. The Edifier 950s offer 6 different levels to choose from, but the Sony XM4s offer a whopping 20 levels to choose from. It also has a voice pass-through option that narrows the transparency mode down even further to only allow vocals through, and it works really well. So the Edifiers are good, it's just that the Sonys are better. Now it's time for the all-important mic test. You are now listening to a mic test of the Sony WH-1000 XM4s, so you can hear what I would sound like in a quiet room. However, this is kind of easy, so let's switch to something a little more noisy. You'll now listen to the mic on the top of the camera in a noisy simulated coffee shop environment, so you can hear what the ambient sound in the room is like. If I now switch to the mics on the headphones themselves, you'll now listen to the mics on the Sony WH-1000 XM4s, so you can hear how well these headphones are cancelling out that background noise and making my voice well heard. Now, mics have never really been Sony's strong suit, so it works, but it's not the best out there. So you now listen to a mic test of the Edifier WH-950NBs in a quiet room, so you can hear what my voice would sound like if I was to take a call here. However, as I said, quiet environment's easy. Let's go to something a little more noisy. So you now listen to the mic on the top of the camera, so you can hear what the ambient sound of the room is like in a noisy environment. If I now switch to the mics on the headphones, you'll now listen to the mics on the Edifier WH-950NBs. These headphones do a fantastic job in pretty much cancelling out all that background noise. They do digitize my voice a little bit as a result of that, but considering how loud it is in this room, they do a really good job. Battery-wise, the XM4s offer 30 hours of ANC playback, with the 950s offering 34 hours of ANC playback. Now, a few years ago, that would have been regarded as good. However, there have now been many headphones out there offering over 50 hours of ANC playback on a single charge. I'm thinking Soundcore Q45s and the Clear Enduro ANC as a couple of examples, so it's no longer the best out there. Still, it's going to be more than enough for most people because both of these are equipped with fast charging. This allows the XM4s to get 5 hours of playback from a 10-minute charge. However, the 950s actually go one better and get 7 hours of playback from the same 10-minute charge, and that's the longest I've seen from any pair of headphones that I've tested. And if you do want to charge both of these back up to full, then the XM4s take about 3 hours, whereas the 950s will be fully charged in around half the time of 90 minutes. Edifier definitely has the Sony beat here. Now, both these headphones also support multi-point, so you can be connected to 2 devices at the same time. This allows me to connect to my laptop and my phone and listen to music or take a call from either, without having to disconnect and reconnect from one to the other. And this is super convenient and pretty much must have in headphones these days. Now, you cannot be connected to 2 devices at the same time and use LDAC for high-res audio. It has to be one or the other. This applies to both of these headphones, and it's actually not just a limitation of these headphones, but any headphones that support LDAC. There just isn't the Bluetooth bandwidth to do both. Now, it's often the extra things that make the difference between headphones, and these could be the deciding factor on which one you go for. The mobile app for Sony has been well established for years. It's not the best out there, but it is functional, it's simple, it gives you easy access to all the advanced features that the Sonys have, such as speak to chat, noise cancelling optimizer, 360 reality audio, DSWE Extreme, wear sensor that pauses the music when you remove your headphones, that's something that the Edifiers don't have, and adaptive sound control. If you want to find out what any of those things are and do, then do be sure to check out my detailed review of the Sony WH-1000 XM4s via the link up here. It's a good app and a good companion to your XM4 headphones. I'm not sure you'd say the same thing about the Edifier mobile app. It's okay, it gives you access to the features you need, but the layout just feels a bit cobbled together. And their EQ options need work, as a full band graphic equalizer is a bit disappointing, and there's no pre-made settings like rock, pop, jazz and the like that make it easy for people to choose what they like best. Their EQ is very customizable, as you can change the frequency response range and the Q factor setting of each band, but you have to know what all of that is, and most people don't, or even care for that matter. They just want an easy way to get good sound. So it's definitely an area that Edifier could improve on. So given all that, would I recommend buying the Edifier WH-950 NB headphones or going for the Sonys? Well, I think it depends on what's most important to you. Looks-wise, the XM4s do look more stylish, and I know that's a subjective thing. However, the Edifiers have them beat on comfort. The XM4s have better ANC, but marginally. The 950s, on the other hand, easily have the XM4s beaten on the mic test. Battery-wise, they're about even, and they both have multi-point. Sound-wise, it is close, the XM4s are better, but it's not a big difference. So let me put this another way. Would you pay twice the price to get the extras that the Sony XM4s give you, or settle on a pair of headphones that get you 80% of the way there for around half the price? Because the Edifier WH-950 NBs are $180, whereas the Sony WH-1000 XM4s are $350. That is a big difference in price, and the performance difference is a lot closer than that. I will place product links to both of these down below so you can go check them out for yourself. If you'd like to look at some other headphones that are worth checking out, then be sure to check out my link up here. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video and it's helped you decide if either of these are right for you. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.